A shocking 83% of our waterways here in the UK are considered to be highly polluted and therefore not safe to drink. And only 14% of our waterways are considered to be in good ecological health. And when you actually take those figures into consideration, it really emphasises just how important it is to know how to make your water safe to drink, whether you're wild camping, camping in a regular site, or you're out practicing your bushcraft and survival skills. So stick with me and I will show you 3 really simple and easy ways to make your water safe to drink that I think everybody should know. So before I actually show you how to filter / purify the water from this little tributary here, the first thing I want to discuss is actually how to identify a good water source. Now, the things that I personally look for, I look for running water, preferably water that's clear, and if I can find water that seems to actually be coming out of rock, then I will take that as my first choice. I genuinely try to avoid stagnant pools. I try to avoid sort of random little accumulations of water that have lots of algae growth on the top of them or signs of eutrophication. And yeah, anything that's really high in sediment I also try to avoid. Another piece of advice I'll give you before we start is, if you are planning a trip, maybe even it's your first trip or you might be really experienced, but if you're planning a trip to somewhere and you see a water source and you're planning to use that water source when you're actually going through your itinerary, maybe do some research about that water source as well. For example, I know that this is a historic glacial melt runoff tributary of a large river in Scotland. So I know a little bit about the history of this water. Perhaps the area that you're planning to visit has a history of mining, in which case there might be a lot of historical heavy metal pollutants in the water that might be worth knowing about. So do a little bit of research if you're actually planning a trip. You might also find that you're maybe travelling through an area with lots of agriculture, farms, animals, things like that. You want to be mindful of dead animals, fertiliser, all that kind of stuff. So before you actually go using these techniques that I'm going to show you, do a little bit of research about your water source. The first method, and in my opinion the easiest method to purify water when you are out, is with tablets. Now, these particular tablets say on here 1 tablet to 1 litre of clear water, and leave 30 minutes before using. So this is definitely the easiest way. I personally don't really like the taste of these, but it's super simple. They pack down really small, you can just throw them in your pack, no bother at all. When you're actually collecting water, in my personal experience, if I'm looking at a body of water like this that has a really strong flow, I'm actually going to be collecting my water with my container actually facing opposite the flow. So the flow's coming towards me, so my container is actually going to be facing like this, because I don't want beasties, sediment, things like that actually being flooded into my container. Another thing that you can do to reduce sediment and beasties is actually use a piece of cloth. So I've got this little bag here, so I could also use that to actually protect the mouth of my container. I'm going to use this wild garlic leaf to just show us the direction of flow. This is going that way. So that means that I want to not fill my water bottle that way, I want to actually fill my water bottle that way. As you can see, the bag has caught the wee bits of sediment, and the water is reasonably clear. Now, that bottle that we just filled up is 750 millilitres, so 3/4 of a litre, which means I need to cut this tablet into 4/4 and then put 3/4 into my bottle. So that's my 3/4, a half and a quarter there, and in they go. So the second way to make water safe is quite simply by using a filter. You get lots of different types of filter. You get gravity filters, you get squeezy filters. The Soya Mini is a really popular one. These are just two really sort of basic filters. I think one of them was £20 and one was £15, so they're quite cheap. But this is another really good way. So these filters are both rated to I believe it's 0.01 microns, which is basically small enough to filter out waterborne pathogens like Cryptosporidium and Giardia. However, these do not necessarily filter out pollutants. You can get activated carbon filters and stuff like that that can take out all sorts of nasties from the water, but these are just really simple basic filters. One of them has a flat attachment and one of them has a screw-on attachment. I hope you can see there, it's actually got the screw on. So make sure that whatever kind of filter you get, make sure that you take it out of the packaging and have a look at it and familiarise yourself with it, because obviously this is completely useless without this. How this works is you fill a container, you then attach that container to your filter like this, and then this end, which is the drinking end, and will usually be indicated by a little arrow that is the clean water end. You can then either squeeze like this to bring your water through, but some people prefer not to do that. Some people prefer to just hold them up and let gravity do the work. So your dirty water goes in this end and your clean water comes out that end. For this one, we're not actually going to use the pre-filter technique with the bag. We're just going to fill it up and I'll show you the difference in water clarity. So, as you can see, here's the water that we filtered using the technique where you just put a piece of material over the mouth of the bottle. And here's the water that we filtered without using that technique. So you can see there's sediment, there's some pine needles in there. I think there might be an ant in there. There'll be beasties, all sorts. So it's worth using the mesh bag or a piece of cloth, a sock, anything will do. It's worth using something to actually pre-filter your water on its way into the mouth of your bottle, because it will also preserve the life of your actual filter as well. Because if you think logically about it, all of this stuff in here, a lot of it's going to end up gummed up in here, and you'll find that generally a lot of filters will have a life of around 4,000 litres, sometimes 10,000 litres, and obviously all of this stuff building up in your mesh inside your filter will significantly reduce the life. So once you've got your water, attach it to your filter, and then all you do is either squeeze or don't squeeze and wait patiently. And the water coming out this end will be filtered. But remember, this does not necessarily remove heavy metals and pollutants and chemicals unless it has a built-in activated carbon and various bits and bobs. So make sure that you read the instructions that come with your filter so that you don't put yourself at unnecessary risk. So there are lots of other ways that you can purify water from a bushcraft/survival skills perspective, but I think I'm going to save that for another video and just focus on the three simplest ones in this video. But if you would like to learn more, then like this video, make sure that you subscribe to my channel and leave me a wee comment down below and just let me know what other techniques you'd like me to demonstrate. Now the third way that I'm going to show you, which is the one that I use the most, admittedly, is just plain old boiling. I just collect up my water, can see it in there, and I chuck it in the fire. Now before you do this, make sure that you are boiling in something that's campfire safe. So this is a single walled aluminium bottle, and by single walled I mean it's just made of one piece of metal. Don't do this in a container that is insulated or double walled because it could potentially explode. So yeah, you want a single wall, just one piece of metal, and yeah, that can go straight in the fire. Let's go. Make sure that you've got a way to get this out of the fire as well, because the entire container will get hot, including the rim. So if your fire is already established, you've got really good coal base, I wouldn't expect that 1 litre container of water to take more than about 5 minutes to actually reach a boiling boil. Obviously it depends on a lot of things, the type of wood, thickness of the metal, that kind of stuff. But regardless, once your water is actually on a rolling boil, my experience, I genuinely leave it for between 3 and 5 minutes. Some sources say more, some sources say less. It's really up to you. You do what feels right for you. But for me personally, I leave it between 3 and 5 minutes. Right, so we have reached what I would call a rolling boil. So the top of that container is completely agitated and not settled at all in any way. So I'm going to let that boil for 3 to 5 minutes, and then I will take it off the fire. So here we are, I've got my nice purified water. It's absolutely hot, hot, hot. So I could use this for cooking, I could use this for a hot drink. But what am I supposed to do if I actually want it to be cold? Just put it back in the water. I'll wait for that to cool down and then I'll put the lid back on. So there you have it. 3 super simple ways to make water safe to drink while you're out camping, doing bushcraft, practicing skills, etc, etc. If you made it to the end of this video, fab, thank you, you're a star. I hope you found this super helpful, and if you have any questions or would like me to demonstrate any other methods, let me know in the comment section. There are lots of ways that you can collect water from the environment and filter water using natural materials, you know, from like a bushcraft survival perspective, but I think that that's something that we'll save for another video. So if you like what you see and would like to see more videos from me, be sure to like this wee video, subscribe to the channel, leave me a little comment like I've said, let me know if there's anything that you need help with, or if there's any challenges you'd like me to do, because I'm always up for a challenge. But that's all we've got time for today. So thanks again, and I will see you in the woods.